Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode of Chronicles, we are talking to Chris about his experience, of his good and bad experiences of being in and out of tattoo shops, finding artists, and what he looks for now after being tattooed for many years when he's looking for a new artist. Enjoy.
So my name's Chris Bailey. I got my first tattoo when I was 19 years old. Um no, I must have been 20. I was at least 21 because I was touring in a band at the time, and I was the only one in the band without a tattoo, and so I thought I'd fix that. Um, so my first tattoo I got here in town at Rebels, and it was done by Doc when Doc was tattooing. So that was my first experience, and it was a 3-session piece. It was my upper panel here. I did the whole quarter panel, and great guy, great experience. So that was the first one. That was the one that started it all.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I had Doc do a handful of mine as well before his accident, and good dude, was a good dude. So yeah. So what was the first tattoo experience like? Like, how'd you end up at Doc's? What was it like?
So Doc's, the reason I ended up at Doc is because, like I said, everyone else in the band that I was in had tattoos, and most of them got them from Doc. And at the time, there was only a handful of shops here in town, and out of all of them, that was the one to go to from everything I heard. Because, like with everything else, referral is going to be your most powerful lead source, and so everybody I talked to was referring me to either Doc down at Rebels or Flacco, depending on what you wanted, because Flacco was kind of known for portraits and black and whites, and then Doc was known for colors. And then people told me about the Beehive in Moses, or the Hive in Moses Lake as well, and so
I got one there too. Funny.
yeah. So that was how I ended up picking Doc, was just word of mouth from other people.
Got it. Okay. And what was it like? I mean, first experience, first time. Was it your first time in a tattoo shop? What was like the experience of actually going in and getting tattooed?
Yeah, so I had gone in with other friends to get tattoos done, so I'd been in a shop before, just never for myself. I expected it to be a lot more painful than it was. Um, that upper panel is pretty painless. Anything for the most part, anything I've had on the arms has been fairly easy. So I just remember being pleasantly surprised that it wasn't as painful as I expected it to be, and I got caught up in the fascination of watching it done, because since it's right here, I could just look down and see what he was doing, and so I was more just fascinated. And it was kind of cool just talking to him through the process, almost relaxing in a weird sort of way. So yeah, it was a pretty neat experience. You've had work done by Doc. He was a great guy. Fun to just sit there and shoot the shit with. And yeah, it was overall a very good experience.
Got it. And when you look back and it being a good experience, you think it was, I mean, how Doc was with you, or like the shop atmosphere, or like when you say good experience? Because I mean, a lot of people had a guest on earlier that had a very poor first experience, and definitely had to do with the guy, his mannerisms, how he treated people, stuff like that.
100%. And I think one of the best things about Doc, and one of the things that I think about all of the good experiences I've had getting tattoos, and a lot of it starts way before the tattoo appointment itself. A lot of it starts from the initial conversations. When I build out a piece, I don't like to go into a shop and say, hey, this is what I want done. I like to start with an idea. I'm not much of a visual artist myself, but I can come up with concepts. And so with Doc, we talked about a concept and a general idea. And then there was some back and forth about, is this what you want? Is this kind of what you're feeling? Here's my own artistic flair in this, my own piece. So just that collaboration of, here's what you want, here's my own artistic contribution to it. The shop itself was welcoming. I'm a metalhead, so going in and listening to metal music while getting work done is always a good thing for me. And I don't think it's important to have a lot of conversation during the appointment. Like obviously some is cool, but it's more of a zen experience for me. And so just a lot of the conversation leading up to it and just that full experience of building something together. I've had work done where it was like I go in, I tell him exactly what I want, he does it, and it was probably my least favorite experience. Just felt very transactional, not very relationship based, and so I wouldn't go back and do that again. But just that whole experience of feeling like you're building something with your artist and with the team there feel is a really cool feeling.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I would say that is a good part of the experience is when there's actually input and back and forth versus just like you said, it's a very seems like a very transactional relationship. It's just like here's the money, here's the design, we're do it, get out, and then on to the next one.
Yeah, 100%.
So this is always an interesting question. Here's some good answers. What has been your least favorite or worst tattoo experience?
So at no fault, so I have two answers on this. The first one was at no fault of the artist, no fault to the artist at all. Um, and it was with Doc. It was the second session when I had the color work done. The first session we just did the outline. The second session we did the color work. Nobody had told me that it was not a good idea to drink heavily the night before you get a tattoo. So I was very very hungover, and I don't know that I have
Oh,
bled that much from a tattoo appointment.
yeah.
So personally, that was like I just sat there miserable. So I know a lot of this is feedback to shop owners and people that do tattoos, but to people that want to get tattoos, don't drink a lot before you go get one. Like
Yeah.
it thins out your blood a lot. So I learned, and so I bled so much during that appointment, and it wasn't fun, and he had to constantly wipe away, and he knew too. As soon as he started working, he was like, "Did you drink a lot last night?" Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can tell. But it made the process longer because he had to constantly wipe away rather than just being able to get some work done. So that was a bad experience. And then the other one was, I was in Seattle and walked into a shop and just did a walk in appointment. Spent way too much money on a piece that was just text and no conversation with the guy. He didn't really ask a lot of my preferences. He was just like, all right, so you want this, you want it here, slapped on the stencil, got the work done. Uh, and it just not a great experience. So it kind of turned me off to walk in tattoos as a whole.
Got it. And what do you think could have been done? So for the first one thing I think is an awesome idea that shops and artists should do is like when we work with a shop, if they're going to get a consultation, this can be also applied to someone to get in tattoo, but we send reminder text stuff like that the night before or a couple days before, like, hey, don't drink.
Yeah,
list
right.
of rules for coming in. Probably shouldn't come in hungover. 'Cause yeah, I mean, I have made that mistake, unfortunately, more than once. You think I learned, but it happens. So, but then with the second one, what do you think would have been able to make that a better experience?
I think part of it is the model as a whole. I think if you're running a tattoo shop and your model is pump them out, just it's a rotating door, get people in quick, get them out, cheap tattoos. More power to you. If your focus is volume, great, but you're not going to build a lot of long-standing relationships that way. And I've been in sales for 15 years at this point, and one of the things I've learned about any industry is you're going to get a lot more repeat business if you just build the relationship with the people that you're doing business with.
Yes.
There's not a lot of room for that if you're doing that kind of turnover model.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. And getting people back and um like checking up on them after goes a long way. Like if you get a text like a week later, that's a lot.
That's huge, yeah. And the aftercare part and just that education piece. Not everybody that comes in. I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make is because it's the world that some of us live in. We know the ropes, but somebody coming in for the first time may not know some of those things that are no brainers. And so having that was one of the other great things about Doc, was having that coaching session of, here's how you take care of it after. Make sure you use non-scented lotions and these kind of things. Here's some recommendations. I think it's a great opportunity for tattoo businesses to get some um, value add sales to their business, is having their recommended products there at the shop that they can sell. Here's what I recommend for you to take care of your tattoo after the appointment. Here's some stuff that you can do beforehand. Here's, stay well hydrated, stuff like that. And um, those kind of, if you look at it like you would any kind of medical appointment, what do you want that medical procedure to look like? You want that same kind of, like, here's what you should know before the procedure, here's how to take care of yourself after the procedure, and almost give like discharge instructions.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah, those little things go such a long way to, again, building that relationship, that trust, that rapport with a client, and the word of mouth travels fast, whether it's good or bad. So
100%.
very fast. So when you are looking for a new artist or a new shop these days, like what are you looking for?
So the first thing I do is I look at their socials. I think
Mhm.
socials, if you're trying to get your stuff out there, Instagram is huge. Facebook is huge. Just so I go on and I look at styles, and I find an artist that I resonate with their styles, um, and that's the first step. And so once I find an artist that I like that style, and for me, I don't have any consistency between my pieces. That each of them means something a little bit different.
Mhm.
I have anything from your kind of traditional skull and crossbones and roses, all the way through, raising my son. You realize that a lot of the things that we liked when we were kids is coming back around, and our kids are liking. And so my son is huge into Pokemon, and so I decided to get a Pokemon tattoo on my
Nice.
calf that he and I talked about together. And I went all the way to Kentucky to get that one done, just because I saw this person post on TikTok some other some she's like specialized in anime and Pokemon stuff. So the power of social media is huge. And so
Mhm.
that's my first step before I even look at, or before I even reach out to the tattoo shop.
Got it. I like that. I like that. And kind of on that same subject, but when you did go to that walk-in shop, what made you choose that shop
Location.
location? And
Yeah,
how'd you find
it was
them?
purely location. I had gone to a concert at El Corazon. The concert ended up being horrible. So the friend that I was
Got it.
with, we left, and we were just walking down the street, walked past a shop that said walk-ins welcome. Thought, hey, what the hell? Let's go do it.
Okay.
So we walked in and did it. So that was purely just, we were in that time at that, or we were in that place at that time.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, outside of like the artist not really talking, which can obviously sometimes be kind of weird, not getting input, building like a friendship. But have you had any experiences when you're in the chair or during the process or getting ready for it that like has made you uncomfortable and be like, man, this is really unprofessional?
I don't think so. I've been pretty
Good.
lucky as far as that goes. I think the only thing that was weird, the last guy that I had some work done with, and I liked him. I liked him a lot. His name was Phil. He was in a shop called Out of Nowhere.
Oh
Loved
yeah.
having work done by Phil. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really liked Phil. I think the only thing that was weird is we were doing. He did my shark piece, and when we were doing that, he was doing it live on stream, and one of the people that was watching the stream got in and started doing a flat Earth debate, and it just got unhinged so quick.
Oh God.
And so I think, just, if you do sessions on stream, to be careful about the conversations that you allow to happen with the people that are joining. And that, I think I've I've been at other shops where I've seen an uncomfortable experience, not because of any interaction between the person getting work done and the artist, but because of the person's friends that they allowed to sit. And I think tattoos are a very private and intimate kind of thing. And so I I don't see it as a bad thing to have restrictions on how many guests you allow to your appointment, not only for yourself, but if there's multiple artists working in the same place and you
Yeah.
have multiple clients in there at the same time, you don't always know what work is being done. But to keep it more private, I don't think is a bad thing at all.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with that. Actually, that's funny that you bring that up. That I've had that happen before, where it's just an open layout, not private rooms, and someone brings like five friends, and they're loud, and it's like this is not this should not be happening.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're already having a lot of stuff done anyway, so it's easy to get overstimulated, um, and just uncomfortable. And I know that's something that's never going to be gospel one way or another. That's purely subjective and opinion based. But
mhm,
for me personally,
yeah,
that's my feedback there.
yeah. No, and I would 100% agree. I don't think anybody wants to get tattooed next to a person with a group of friends that are being rowdy and loud, and yeah, yeah, or drunk, or drunk.
Right.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awkward.
miserable.
Yeah. For any time you've returned to an artist more than once, like what was it that they did or the process that really stood out? You're like, I would definitely go back to this person.
It's the full process, start to finish, the collaboration from the beginning, um, the experience in the chair, the aftercare part. Like you said, that follow up piece can be huge. Is reaching out, hey, how's everything healing? I think that one of the things that brought me back in a few times was the free touch ups. And I know it's always tricky to offer free services, but touch ups are an important piece to keep the piece looking fresh, and also using that as an opportunity to sell more appointments. Hey, have you thought about filling in this piece? Seeing as we're touching this piece up, seeing how much more we could add to it, we should talk about another session. Um, again, using other analogies, I used to do car sales, and the dealership I worked for offered free service appointments because they used that as an opportunity to upsell either parts for the
Mm,
vehicle or new vehicles. And so offering free touch ups can be a good upselling or future selling opportunity, as well as just keeping that relationship whole.
that's a good point, and that's now that I think of it, like I've got a decent amount of tattoos. I've never had an artist try to get any kind of follow up tattoo done, unless it was like we're continuing on the same piece. But I bet, I mean, even if it's 15 or 20% of people say, yeah, let's book something for this. That's what I've been thinking. That's already 15 to 20% more than you're doing now. That's a good point. That's a good idea.
100%. And I mean, let's be real. If they're in the chair getting a touch up done, they're already feeling the need to get that itch done. Because
Yes,
I mean, getting work done is addicting, and once you
it
get
is.
that, you're constantly looking to fill it. And it also keeps you in the top of their mind as the artist, so they're not looking for other artists to go to. They know that you're their guy.
Definitely, definitely. Um, Chris, man, I massively appreciate it. Took up about 20 minutes of your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, Jesse, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you, man.